The Ottoman Empire, one of the great powers of Europe and the world for centuries, entered a decline of its power in the 18th century. The government was eager to modernize the country in the 19th century to maintain its political relevance with its European counterparts. However, that turned out not to be so easy. Some of the historians claim there are two reasons for Ottoman inability to modernize as quickly as some of the other countries. The first explanation was that the feudal system was kept for too long, deep into 19th century. In that system, society was basically divided into two classes, the military class and bureaucratic elite, with all the rights and benefits, and everybody else. That created a society that was not flexible and mobile, that was needed to adapt to capitalism and parliamentarianism. The other explanation was found in so-called Asian way of production, meaning that since most of the land was owned by the state, it was governed by bureaucrats, and also bureaucratic strict control of small businesses in the cities blocked the development of market-oriented economy. Also, the crisis that started and lasted on and off for a century or two before was putting government in unfavorable position to deal with so much needed reforms. Alongside this, the Ottoman economic policies did not help to lift the country economy from its burdens of the past. Basically, with giving privileges to foreign capital and having low tariffs on the goods imported from the outside, the market had been flooded by cheap goods, which further lowered the prices and made it unprofitable for local businesses to try to compete. According to some sources, GDP of European countries in the 19th century increased by 6 times, and GDP per capita was rising with the rate around 1% yearly. In Ottoman Empire, there was even a decrease in GDP per capita in the same century. Industrialization made it much easier to produce the goods and cut the expenses of the production. Europe was getting their agriculture material from North America, Australia, and Argentina, leaving the less fortunate countries to rely on exporting less profitable raw materials, which often accounted for 2/3 of total exports from these countries. The Ottoman government managed to make a deal with the Western powers of increasing the import tariffs from 3 to 8% in 1861, which did give the central government some capital. But bottom line, inability of modernizing Ottoman Empire can be found in a couple of things. Resistance of the beneficiary elites to reforms which would make them equal with the rest of the population, cheap imported goods, inability to develop its own manufacturing industry, and as a result of these things, ending up relying solely on the export of some raw materials which were used to manufacture things in other countries and probably import back in Ottoman Empire.